Hey YouTube, how is everybody doing? So I'm actually doing a remake of this video because I did not like the way the first video was filmed and done. It was kind of rushed and I didn't get to say everything that I wanted to. That's why I was going to kind of do a part two, which of course there'll be add-ons to this. But I just wanted to update everybody on just what's been going on in my life since I found immediate family and what I found out. And last video I didn't know where to start, but I know where to start now, so that's good. So I'm gonna start off with when I had talked to my Aunt Eva. I have not been keeping like track of how long it's been and stuff like that. I just haven't. But I will start with when I had talked to her. Now, my Aunt Eva is my mother's older sister. They share the same mother, but not the same father. My Aunt Eva and my mother, their mother, my grandmother, my mother's mother, they described her as a woman who looked white but wasn't white. So she had this type of hair that was like a blondish reddish hair. And I guess the hair kind of helped give her this white look, although she was most likely a very light-skinned woman. So I didn't just hear this from my Aunt Eva, but I've heard it even from my own mother that her mother, my grandmother, was a person who could pass as white. But she wasn't white, from what I hear. She wasn't white, but she could pass as white. And as I think of her, when I hear about her hair and how her hair was a type of blondish red. And how do I think of her? Yeah, I know it's weird, but I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with those old Christmas tales, and I don't know, I can't remember which one it was, but there's this one where there's this guy and he has this fire hair, and I think about my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, in that way with the fire hair, because the fire hair is like kind of a blondish reddish. Like when you see fire, you have like a dark layer, a light layer. Like I don't know how to explain it, but the person had fire hair. He was an evil person, but he had fire hair. So that's kind of how I think of my grandmother on my mother's side. Um, and I thought that was very cool. I haven't heard of my mother's mother at all. I found stuff about her through Ancestry. Her name was Dorothy Phillips, and as I heard, there's some Phillips blood in there. I'm pretty sure my mother's mother, of course, was probably predominantly of African ancestry, but she probably had a good amount of European ancestry, and she probably had Native American ancestry, and she probably had Pacific Islander ancestry. Or maybe that skipped the line, and maybe it was from my mother's father's side, who was Wayne Brazil, who was, of course, my maternal grandfather. And I haven't heard much about him yet, actually. I'm going to start asking more questions about him. But I thought that's really cool. But yes, her name was Dorothy Phillips. Remember, I have videos of me looking her up and trying to find more stuff on her, but I couldn't. So that was really cool. That was really interesting. My Aunt Eva also was telling me that when I was born, while I was in the care of my adopted family, actually, I think even before I was born, she was trying to help my mother get settled, and she was trying to help her get like a stable foundation so that she could take me in, but I can't exactly remember exactly what happened. I'm guessing just my mother never got it together, or it just, the problems that she had were too, I guess, overwhelming or too strong. She couldn't do it. I haven't really gotten deep in that either yet. I think in the video that I deleted, or that I'm going to delete after I finish making this one, is my aunt Eva thought that I was in New Jersey because she believed that supposedly some distant relatives on my dad's side were going to take me in and take care of me. As you know, that never happened because I've never been to New Jersey. I've never even lived in New Jersey, you know. So to me, that was foreign. That's the first time I ever heard somebody thinking that I was in New Jersey. So I guess for the longest time, that's what she had thought, was that I was in New Jersey and that I was with family there. Which was really interesting to hear that I was thought to be in New Jersey. And she believed that that's where I was. So for her to hear that I was in North Carolina was a very big surprise for her. I believe she's still trying to connect the dots, as I'm still trying to connect the dots. So it's a really cool kind of mystery that we're still trying to solve. But she was aware of my birth, and she did know about me being born. And of course, being my mother's older sister, she's gonna be highly aware of things that happen. I'm not sure if she held me. I cannot remember if she had held me or not. So I'll have to ask her that, but I do know she was aware of my birth. Moving on to my dad, he was explaining to me that how my mother had the prettiest hair in San Angelo. She basically, he said he would take her to the salon, and how she would just have the prettiest hair, like they would put water in it, and whatever they'd wash it, her hair would just fall down. And even to this day, you know, my Aunt Eva said the same thing, that my mother had the prettiest hair. And even to this day, she still has pretty hair. It's a lot shorter, but she still has really, really beautiful hair. And no matter what, like if I have long hair, if I have short hair, my hair is so pretty, and I get that from my mother. And it's funny because even as a child, I've always had this pretty hair. You know, everybody's always been so fascinated with my hair. I'd have like box braids. You know, the mother I grew up with would braid it, and all the time she learned, and I'd always walk around with the braids that she would give me, and everybody would just love it. They'd love my hair. They'd fall into just some big, huge dream, fantasy, lust. It was just like, oh my God, your hair is so beautiful. And even today, I still get that. Like, I have the prettiest hair wherever I go. And it's just, it's cute, it's adorable. So it's really cool, because even my dad would say, yeah, you get that from your mother. That's your mother, that you get that from her. So it's really nice to know some traits of certain things that, you know, I guess I get from her, which I had a feeling I got that from her. That's the only person that I could think. And he would explain that to me, that, you know, she had the prettiest hair. And my Aunt Eva would tell me that, you know, she still has the prettiest hair. She's always had the prettiest hair. I always heard that my mother was such a beautiful young woman. Not just in her 20s and 30s and, you know, teens, but even as a child, she was such a beautiful girl. And my aunt has been looking through pictures, and she's been trying to find more pictures for me. She's been trying to, you know, dig up a lot of stuff, which is really cool. I'm excited to see what she brings back. My dad was also explaining to me how my brother Gary was always looking for me. Always asking about me, like when I was taken, and he would always ask, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? I mean, and constantly. And I even talked to Gary about this, and he said, yeah, I did. I constantly talked about you and asked about you, and nobody knew where I was, so they would always tell Gary, my brother, on my dad's side, that if we knew where he was, we would tell you. So now that Gary has me, it's a big, it means a lot to him that he has me now, and that I'm in contact with him and the family. It means a lot. And I'm very grateful to have him. And I wish I knew how to express it through this video, how grateful I am, but it's kind of hard. My dad was also talking to me definitely about how he served in the military. Every time I'm on the phone with him, he'd always say over and out when we end the phone call. And he told me to get used to that because that's what he says. So that's what I'm getting used to. Which is really cool because he was telling me when I was in Alabama, which I'll go in depth about Alabama because I know in my other video one of my subscribers wants me to go in depth. She kind of wants me to explain more about Alabama. So there's a lot of history in Alabama, a lot about racism and segregation and just Jim Crow laws and everything. You know, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, everybody. So my father was around at that time, and he was actually, I think, shipped to Vietnam, I believe, and it was really cool because he told me, asked me, you know, how was it there? Was it educational? Did you learn a lot about, you know, history and your people and this and that? And I explained to him that I did. So that was really cool. So it's really nice to get these conversations, these experiences, these things, learning about yourself. This video is about to end because I only have like 4 minutes left. But another thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm gonna make a second video right after this one and upload both tonight. I'm on this is the weekend. I'm caught up on a lot. But my second cousin Vernon, on my dad's side, it's funny because in a lot of my pictures that I take, I always make funny faces. And like my faces I'll make are very similar to his faces. So like when I first, it's like I get it from him, and I always wondered why I did it. And so I would look at the pictures that he takes. In the first photo I saw that he made that face, I was like, oh, okay, that's a similar face, you know, that's a similar face. And then it's like he made another face similar to mine that I make. So I was like, oh, okay, that's another face. Then he made another face, so it just kept coming. So I was like, these pictures are so similar to the pictures that I take. And I just emailed him today, and I said, you know, the faces you make are very similar to the faces I make in my videos, so I must get that from you. And you know, he just, you know, started, you know, laughing. Well, I don't know if he was laughing. It was on Facebook. But I know he just said, you know, I always made that face. So, like, I have too. So I thought it was cool that, you know, that's something that me and him share, is making that face. And Cousin Vernon always tells me, ever since he met me, that I look just like him when he was young, just like him when he was 22 years old. Like, I don't know how he exactly looked when he was 22. So I would definitely want to see pictures at some point in my life, but he always tells me, you look just like me when I was 22. Like, oh my gosh, you are like this spitting image of me when I was 22. So I find that interesting, and I want to learn more. I do want to learn more. I'm starting to definitely develop more questions in my mind about certain things. I know also on my dad's side that we're supposed to be related to Geronimo. And on my mom's side, of course, you guys know I've talked much about Mexican cousins and relatives, and as my mother has told me, and as my Aunt Eva told me, we have French in the family. That's cool, really awesome. I had a feeling I'd have French because northwestern Europe / Eastern, I can't remember. I know it's Northwestern Europe has popped up, and that encompasses France. She's not familiar with Spanish in the family, but my mother is. And she said we have a whole bunch of Mexican cousins on that side. And that's where it comes from. But now it's getting to the point where I have to end the video, so I will continue this video in the next video. Bye, guys.